Years, will the outcome be any different? Joining me here in San Francisco, Congresswoman Barbara Lee from California, who won a squeaker of a race, garnering a mere 86% of the vote yesterday. Tough race, Congresswoman. Congratulations. I'm sure you were sweating bullets about that one.
Well, let me just say thank you very much, Elliot. But I think it's very important that all of us engage with our constituents and that we really afford the opportunity for a good campaign and a major get-out-to-vote effort. And that's what we did, and people voted.
You did, and I know your reputation deservedly is you work incessantly, and that is what constituents want. And as somebody who's in that business, applaud you. It's not always easy. Now, you're running to be vice chair of the Democratic caucus. Explain why and where you want to take that caucus.
Sure, and you know, I think after the elections last night, it's really remarkable that we will first time, as Leader Pelosi said, have a majority-minority caucus. We have never, first of all, had an African-American woman as vice chair of our Democratic caucus. Secondly, though, I think my record speaks for itself in terms of being able to work with all facets of our caucus to bring people together on a common agenda. And I want to make sure that we broaden the tent, that everyone's voice is included, that we move forward with the White House to really become a really strong and effective caucus. And let me also say, I think it's important that all of our Democrats really begin to work more closely with the constituency which elected President Barack Obama, and that's going to be very important.
The question that many people are asking today is, what will the president approach John Boehner with? Will he go back with the offer from last summer, which many people say should not be put back on the table? What do you think? First, should there be a grand bargain? And if so, what should its constituent elements be? Because many people are saying, no, we don't want to agree right now to the entitlement cuts until the Republicans agree to very significant revenue increases, because fairness dictates this.
Sure, I think we have to have a balanced approach. That's what we've always said, Elliot, and we have to have some tax fairness. We have to allow the Bush-era tax cuts for the very wealthy to end. We have to make sure there's some equality and some justice there in the tax system. But secondly, when you talk about deficit reduction and budget cuts, the bottom line is, who's going to pay? Are we going to cut senior citizens, Medicare, Social Security, food stamps, the most vulnerable? Or are we going to look at waste, fraud, and abuse, perhaps in the Pentagon and areas where we should look and cut?
Look, we are now at that moment that everybody's been waiting for. Let's get through the election. Get through elections was sort of what everybody said during the summer. We're here now. Time is short between now and January 1, when sequestration would kick in, theoretically. And yet we have a renewed president with great power. Why not just let the Bush tax cuts expire and then go to the Republicans and say, look, the tax rates have gone up on the wealthiest. You want to come to us with a tax cut plan for the middle class? We're here to deal with you, but you have just lost your tax. Let them expire. What's wrong with that as a negotiating point?
Well, you know, I think that there are many who would think that makes a lot of sense. What we have to do is make sure, though, that middle-income individuals and families and low-income and the working poor don't pay for that. And so I think what we have to make sure of with this fiscal, quote, cliff looming, is to ensure that there is some fairness in the middle-income people and those aspiring for middle-income, low-income, working poor, that they don't pay that price. And so that would be totally unfair for them.
There's no question what you're saying is where we want to end up. But it has struck me that the way the White House negotiated last year, and I'm hoping they now change with the renewed power they've gotten, the thumping the Tea Party got, and John Boehner today saying revenue should be part of it. Just look John Boehner in the eye and say, hey, we've done our bit. We won the election. You're still the speaker, we get that, but the president is still here. You're going to lose all your tax cuts on January 1. You've got to come back with things. So the ratio of cuts to tax increases was completely askew last time. So why not just really push John Boehner this time and say, the public has spoken, and fairness dictates this outcome?
I agree. We have to be tough in our negotiations, and you can't start in a place where there's no place to move. And so I believe that many lessons were learned from the last time. Of course, I did not support the sequestration and what took place. And so I believe that hopefully with Speaker Boehner talking today about bipartisanship and wanting to work together, I hope that he'll understand that he's got to address the tax cuts for the very wealthy.
Look, and having been out here for the past couple of days, as folks know, we covered the election last night from here in San Francisco. Love your city, and I know you're Oakland as well. Love both of them.
You've got to visit Oakland. It's beautiful. All the entire East Bay.
All right, I take your word for it.
Economy.
There was something, Proposition 30 was on the ballot yesterday here in California. It passed. It's what Jerry Brown is doing to get additional revenue for the state, to eliminate the need to cut education spending. He is increasing the tax rate on the wealthy, increasing sales tax a tiny little bit, but it's getting $6 billion a year in additional revenue for the state. The public voted for it. So is there a public understanding revenue needs to be part of this in a significant way?
The public understands that, and I think that's why the public reelected President Barack Obama, because that has been his exact position and his exact agenda. And I'm so proud of the state of California and the residents here who voted for that, because our children deserve better. They deserve a future education, higher ed, K through 12. They deserve to be taken care of in terms of not being on the chopping block.
And I think Jerry Brown deserves a fair bit of credit. I mean, from afar, at least it seemed to me, he was leading this charge, taking a lot of slings and arrows directed his way, saying to the folks, if you don't vote for this, I'm going to have to cut your education. This is the better approach. And I think the rest of the nation should look at California. As a New Yorker, I kind of hate to admit it, but you guys are big. You set an example often. The public said this makes sense, and I think the president can say to John Boehner, look, the public supports that. So I think
Governor Brown certainly led the charge on this, and he was steady, he was focused, and he did not relent and did not allow anyone to push him back on that. And we won. And so you're right.
That's right.
I think the country is ready for a balanced approach and ready to really look at tax.
And having been in a position like as governor where I know what it's like when you're saying raise taxes, people get furious, but it was right. All right, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, thank you so much for your time tonight, and good luck in your effort to become vice chair of the caucus.
Thank you.
When it comes to an even division between Democrats and Republicans, nothing beats Florida. Newly re-elected Congressman from